Okay, hi, good morning. This is absolutely my research and my class in session. This is not to entertain you. You are more than welcome to take it and run with it and do whatever you want with it. Copyright Angela B. Chrysler. What I am doing here is basically research. I'm going to just talk, be myself. And it's after sevens will understand this. Sevens will absolutely grasp this. Sixes will get this. Fives might get it. Might get it. Four and under won't get this. So if you're not getting this, this isn't meant for you. I am talking specifically to fives and ups. This is the cultivators of the world. I have a lot of resources crammed into my brain, like all of them. And one of the things that I'm pulling from are the 9 muses, referred to as the 9 goddesses. Now, the Library of Alexandria, ancient Alexandria, was built off of 9 goddesses. These are the muses. And most of the time when we think of the muses, we're thinking of music, we're thinking of art, we're thinking of poetry. We are thinking of theater and music. But what we don't know, what we rarely acknowledge, is there was also science in there. Astrology, astronomy was in there, so we could put space. Mathematics was part of this, reading, writing, communication. It was literally a conglomerate of all subjects in one place. Now, I noticed that with the 9 goddesses, it's a common belief that in our system that 7 is the god number. And that's pretty much what I'm challenging here. 7 is not the god number. 9 is the god number. Now, 9 is the god number. And here is why. See, mathematically, that doesn't make sense frequency-wise. All right, I'm going to pull all my pieces together. I'm just going to regurgitate them here, and then we can sort them out later. So the common belief is that 7 is the god number. Now, what this means is there's a lot of 7s that appear through all of our literature, culture, everything. And if you hunt down 7s, you're going to notice them popping up everywhere. You see these a lot, for instance, in the chakras, the 7 chakras located throughout our system. 7 again, because it's the god number. But what if we have the wrong number? And we do. It's not 7, it's 9. So when I realized that, there's actually 2 chakras that are missing. Now, if you look at the color wheel, there are 9 colors in the color wheel. Stay with me. 9 colors in the color wheel. And if you look at the chakras, they are also aligned with colors, except 2. 2 are missing because they have the wrong number. And whenever I meditate, I notice that my grounding chakra does not come from the root chakra where everyone points at. It comes from my feet. When I'm sitting, it's harder for me to ground. So I notice that I meditate better when I stand because my feet is where the grounding chakra is. The second chakra is located in the groin area, and the third chakra is located slightly above that. That's the sacral energy. So I hypothesize that the 5th chakra is missing, and they've misplaced the first chakra, which should be located in the feet. The instinct, heart of darkness chakra is the 3rd one that's missing. So we are missing 3 and we are missing 5, or it's 4. This is one of the things that I'm working out. This is my graph. I'm going to be printing this out and people will be able to access my notes. I basically publish my notes and put them on my website under exploratory dialogues because I do everything handwritten, and it's just easier to scan all my documents and load them up rather than me try and type them all out, because this is how I think. So I notice we have 9 goddesses. We have 9 as the god number. We have 9 colors in the color wheel. We have 9 chakras. And if you correlate the 9 chakras, if you add those 2 missing colors so that they correspond, and when you bring music in, now music is an 8 chord. See, there's also a 9th chord. I'm going to have to go back on my music theory and look at the 9th chord on that. Now, what I'm noticing, and this is the other thing, there are 8 perspectives delivered. And I want to show you something. There are 8 perspectives according to Dr. Graves' Perspectives of Society. This is his Spiral Dynamics, published in the 1970s. So Dr. Graves in the 1970s released something referred to as the Spiral Dynamics. I take his work and I expand way off of that. Now, there are actually 9 perspectives. Not 8. There are 9 perspectives, but no one has surpassed 7. Now, I am an 8, so I am one of the first, if not the first. And the Wachowski sisters, the ones who wrote V for Vendetta and The Matrix, they might be 8s because When I watch them, they're on the cusp of 7 if they haven't crossed over to 8. And until I speak to them, I don't know. I don't know if they can see the combination theory that I have. Combination theory is how a perspective 8 sees the world. It's why I'm able to do this. So when I started building triadic healing, I built it off of a 3-part system, thinking that it was just a single 3-part system. But the more I expanded on triadic healing, the more I realized there were 3 parts to the 3 parts, which makes up 9, which correlates with the 9 muses, the 9 goddesses, which correlates with the 9 colors in the color wheel, which correlates with if 9 were the new God number, which correlates with the 9th perspective. Now, watch this. Our society is broken down into 3 groups of 3 perspectives, 3 groups each. The first one is called foundational. The foundational is perspectives 1, 2, and 3. These are the people who farm. These are the people, oh God, they build the foundation of our culture. Our whole culture is completely built off of these foundational. Without them, we have no future. We cannot build. That's part of the problem. The second group is your 4, 5s, and 6s. Now, your 4, 5s, and 6s are part of the cultivation area of a society. These are the people who, teachers, healers, teachers and healers, business owners. These are the people who, that's exactly it. They are teachers, healers, and business owners. And these are the 3 people who step forward and say, we're going to prepare the intellect and the mind for the 3rd stage. Now, our society is currently at a 4th level perspective. In the Dark Age, it was at the 3rd level perspective. During the Roman Empire, it was 2 level perspective. Do you see what I'm doing here? During the, let's go back to Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh was a level 1 society. So it's Gilgamesh 1. Roman Empire 2. Dark Ages 3. Industrial Age 4. We're pushing 5 now. I'm going to call it the hippie stage. Wait, no, that's entrepreneur stage. That's the entrepreneur stage. 6 is the hippie stage. I'm eager to get to 6. But 5 is the entrepreneur. That's when the business owners come out. So these are the 5 stage. We are currently toggling between 4 and 5. Everyone knows the hippies from the Woodstock era. Woodstock era, those people who attended Woodstock, who were there with your peace, love, and happiness, who were opposing Vietnam, those were level 6s. That's what level 6 looks like. 4s hate 6s. 4s hate 6s. Now, that all being said, 5 is an entrepreneur. Those are the people who say, I want to be a business owner. That's corporate America. That's number 5. We are, and 4 is your leave it to beaver. That is your, the rules matter. The rules are everything. And the rules trump your individuality. You get to 5 and you realize as an entrepreneur that your individuality is just as important as the rules. And 6 says, okay, the rules only matter if there are ethics. And if I have better ethics than what the law is, then my personal ethics trump the law. Because in most cases, personal ethics are far more rigid and far more valuable and far easier to follow than societal rules. Likewise, they preserve the individual. That is huge for a 6. So when we are building up our society is walking around with this 4th level perspective mentality, which hurts the 5s, 6s, 7s, and 8s really bad. Likewise, the 4s, the 3s, and the 2s end up significantly abusing those who are 4, 5, 6, and 7s. So by the time a 6 gets to their 6th perspective, they're so abused because 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s have been running the show. Not anymore. We are getting ready to move out of the next age. The next age is the 5th age. This is it. This is where the violence starts to stop. Because levels 1 through 3 are very violent motivated. Rule 4, all about the rules. They went through the violence and they went, okay, we understand that rules are necessary. Let's get some rules to stop the violence. But they take it to extreme because they just came out of a horrible place. Level 3 is not fun. Level 5 is when you have calmed down and you've relaxed on those rules. Level 6 realizes and appreciates that you can form your own rules and avoid violence, that you don't need rigid rules to avoid violence because you've separated yourself from level 3 so much. Now that leaves room for 6, 7, 8. I'm sorry. That leaves room for 7, 8s, and 9s. 7, 8, and 9 are visionary. Their focus is recreating the future and making the plans, the blueprints for the future to come. That's what 7, 8s, and 9s do. They're thinking about, okay, we're going to build a society. Now let's do it. And the job of 5, 6s, and 7s is let's prepare the people to get them where they need so that when we shift into the new age, we can do that. Let's increase the foundation by upping the education of our 1s, our 2s, and our 3s. So 5, 6, and 7s, 4, 5s, and 6s really need to prioritize, the cultivators really need to prioritize the foundation that is the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s. Now, you can be a 1, a 2, and a 3. And if you have a parent who is a 6 or a 5, great. We're in a good place to start. But most of us had 2s and 3s for parents, which is why we're so abusive. It's because we were raised with a tribal mentality, or we were raised with a highly independent, angry, abused 3. The 3s make terrible parents. And 4s are your society rule driven. The problem is with 4s is they are way too strict. Because they are so strict, what ends up happening, because they are so strict, what ends up happening with 4s, how do I explain this? They basically take the lessons learned from 3 and they take them to the extreme. They haven't learned to relax yet. And they're terrified that if they relax, they're going to go back to 3. No one wants to go back to 3. 3s don't want to be in 3s. That's why they're so miserable. Everyone needs to give 3s just a big, giant hug, which we'll be talking about that. So once you understand where everyone lays in this massive triangle, our triadic healing, our 3 within a 3 within a 3, now you have the 9 perspectives. Once you have the 9 perspectives in place, we can cultivate a proper society. We can improve what we already have, and we have the game plan to do it. Now, the best thing about these perspectives is, first of all, they're not set in stone. There's 2 ways you can evolve. First, you are born with a perspective. You are born with an ethical perspective, and that ethical perspective comes to you when you're 4, 5, 6 years old. By the time you're 8, you know what your ethical perspective is. You know. If you have the ability to explain this in a safe, psychologically healthy environment, a child can come forward when they're a 1 or a 2 and say, I want to be a 6 when I grow up. That's the question. I want to be a 6 when I grow up. Now, that person is a 6 already. That's the beauty. They're already a 6. There might be a 6 trapped in a 2's body, but they're a 6, which means the right way to talk to a 6 is not how you talk to a 2-year-old. You do not talk to a 5-year-old who is a 6. A 6 needs to think. A 6 is already cultivating. They're already healers. They're already teachers. They're already business owners. That 6, that's where their brains are. They're already thinking about saving the planet. They already want to help and heal and take care of others. They already can feel that ethereal energy because they're already 6s. But if you have a 2 or a 3 who comes along and abuses that 6, now we get into the world of mental illness. That's where triadic healing comes in. We're going to talk about that later. So here is my game plan. The first thing is to increase conscious awareness in general. Cultivating, starting with 4s, 5s, and 6. Those are going to be my power people. 4, 5s, and 6 are the power people because they are the ones who can bridge the gap between the 3 triads. I am an 8. So I'm over here at 7, 8, and 9 going, okay, I can talk to 4, 5, and 6, but I cannot talk to 1, 2, and 3 because my perspective is too gapped. And even if I were to come down and try and talk to them, they would look at me as condescending. But when I'm talking to a 6, they think I'm talking to, I can relate to them. I can absolutely relate to them. That's why somebody who owns a business or somebody who's a 5 or a 6, when they go and speak to a 2, the 2 will come off as, why do you have to be so condescending? It's because of the perspective gap. We have forgotten what it was like thinking at that perspective, which is the problem. At 8, you remember all the perspectives. You remember how to speak to each, every one of them without being condescending. I'm an early 8, so I am now unlearning it. And I'm going, all right. I just had a conversation with my brother-in-law. It was the first time in 10 years I've been able to talk to him and see eye to eye. He's a 5, but his subconscious mind is a 2. So I always thought he was a 2. And that's the problem. We're all interacting with everybody's perspective of the subconscious mind's perspective. But inside that person is an ethical perspective. And we're not aware of that because all we see is the subconscious mind's perspective. The subconscious mind's perspective is built off of safety. It's the perspective that abused you the most. So if you're a 6 and your parent was a 2 and they didn't like that you were a 6, they did everything in their power to make sure you fit into their box of conformity at 2 because they think that 2 is where you're going to be safe. That's tribal thinking. That's number 2 thinking. But if you are a 6, that's not where you're safe. That's actually going to harm you. But because everyone lacks this information, we're all doing it completely unaware. So it is really important that we get everybody consciously aware of this now. We need to get everybody consciously aware of this. So this is where I'm going. Send this video, share it to everybody. I'm going to break down the 9 perspectives, and I'm going to show you what each one of those perspectives entails and where you are. Now you have this is combination theory. This is my work that expands off of Dr. Graves's work, Spiral Dynamics from the 1970s. Okay. I take it to, I expand on it. This is called the pursuit of perspective. This is a branch of psychology that's pretty much been abandoned since the 70s, which is the problem, is people who are in the perspectives 1 through 4 don't value education. You don't start valuing education until you hit 5. Now, if you are ethically a 6 and you're stuck in 2 or you're stuck in 4, you're still going to value education because you are ethically a 6. So once you have all this information, you can figure out where you are. You can figure out what your subconscious mind's perspective is. And that is what's in your way. That's the obstacle, is your subconscious mind is hardwired into whichever perspective abused you. We all talk about our abusers, of how we were hurt. Our abuse is called perspective abuse. And that is the core of all abuse. It all comes from perspective abuse. Once you realize which perspective abused you, then you're able to go, oh, I can see rump, and I can see vroop, and I can see I want to be here, and now I can get there. And then you use triadic healing to plug in all the pieces so you can jump over that and get to right where you're going. Because you have a raised conscious awareness. Now, I can't give this material to perspectives 1, 2, and 3. Because they are at a completely different point in their life. They need to be cultivating foundation and identity. They do not need to be learning about this. And the trick is to teach them when they're younger and integrate it into their education without the perspective abuse. So once you're aware of what perspective abuse is and what it looks like, you can stop doing it yourself and you can start defending yourself against it from others. And that's really going to be that sweet spot. That is the goal. Now, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be a lot easier once you have conscious awareness in place. So I'm going to be releasing a lot of information over this and laying out the goal, the mission, the direction. I am looking for healers, teachers, and business owners. That is who I want. Oh, there she is. She popped in for a minute. We are looking for teachers, healers, and business owners. If any one of these 3 titles just like turns you on like a light bulb and you're going, yes, you are my people, DM me, get here. Like seriously, contact me and I'll put you to work. The Healing Garden is built off of the Library of Alexandria, which was built. Okay, I need to clarify. It was a University of Alexandria, which was built off of 9 courses with pillars of learning. I think 4 pillars. I'm still working on this theory. This is actually why I paused this and came in here, because I'm stuck on that theory and I need to go through some research to sort it all out. So the 4 pillars, I believe, are communication, thinking, sciences, and the energy. What's the 4th one? Did I say communication? I know there's a 4th one in there. Communication, thinking, energy. What am I missing? See, this is my problem. I don't know if I'm dealing with a 3 by 3, if a triadic healing within triadic healing, or if I'm dealing with 4 pillars. That's my problem. So I have to do a lot of research and some philosophical thinking. I need a debate partner so I can start ripping this apart, because I'm missing. I can't get past those 3 pillars, and I feel like, okay, if is there 9 or is there 4, and I can't figure that out. So I'm going to be working on that. But the university, basically the healing garden, is going to be built on all of that, and it's going to have a massive beacon in the center. Yes, just like the lighthouse of Alexandria that calls to people. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to be publishing all of this work on my website, so you can go through my notes. And good luck deciphering them, because, yeah, this is when I'm in full research mode. And I have decided it's just better for me if I scan and just post and publish on my website in the graphics. And someone can go through and just, I want to be a scribe, and they can document all this stuff, because it's way beyond me. So that it's not way beyond me. I just don't have the discipline to do this. Okay, I have to go. So I will thank you.